Hi, I'm Bill, and this is Day 1. The date today is Sunday the 10th of May, and this is my mobile phone telephone. My precious. The slab that makes me mad. And I'm going to be replacing this all week with this. I'm going to spend 1 week without having the pocket portal to the abyss. I will be carrying just a Game Boy, sometimes a cat, but always the Game Boy. Now, I've talked before about how gaming is better for you than doom scrolling. Well, it's time to finally put my foot where my mouth is, because I've been trying to do that. I've been trying to game more than looking at my phone, but the phone is just so easy and so addictive. You've got it, you just whip it out, and there goes your brain. That's gone into the phone. You know, it's not my fault, it's not your fault, it's how these apps are designed. The fact that there's so little friction to it. You pull it out your pocket and you start swiping. There's no thought involved, there's no effort, it's just so easy. And there's a lot of videos on YouTube about the analog bag and the idea of trying to replace your social media usage, your phone usage, whatever, with something that's useful, productive, or creative. I watched one video that was one cool video about replacing your phone with a little pocket magazine that you carry around, and you write yourself, you draw yourself. You can, and you can just doodle on it, or you can just read what you doodled before, and that's cute. That's a neat idea. Maybe that'll work for you, but I don't think it's going to work for me, and I don't think it's going to work for most people. I think you need something easy and frictionless, and I'm going to try the Game Boy or cat. You're really determined to be in this one, aren't you? I'm getting kitty kisses. So today, it's Mother's Day in Germany, and we are taking my mother-in-law to a spa, and I'm going to be taking my Game Boy with me. I will, unfortunately, fall at the first hurdle, and I'm going to get this out of the way right at the start, because this is going to be the case for anyone who wants to copy this as well. My train ticket is on my phone. There's no getting around that. They don't let you print it. You need the app to prove it's current. So I will be carrying my phone with me for the purposes of the train. But I'm going to put it in a bag. I'm going to have notifications off. I'm not going to look at it. It's going to be in the bag, and there it will stay. Unless someone comes to look at my train ticket. There are ways you can do this, you might put it into do not disturb mode as well, that sort of thing, just to make sure. And that's the other question, like people have asked me when I've talked about this idea before, is, Bill, people won't be able to contact you. Yeah, isn't that fine? Like, what if there's an emergency? Well, I don't know. I mean, we got through the vast majority of human history without being contactable 24/7. Where's this idea come from that I need to have my phone with me in case there's an emergency? I will give my work email address and maybe my work desk phone number to a couple of loved ones who might need it. And that's fine. And through most of human history, you didn't even have that. You would just find out later that something terrible had happened. And like, what are you going to do? There are very few emergencies in life that you can actively do something about anyway. It's fine. I'll be as contactable, I think, as I need to be. I'm not going to worry about it. And, I'm only replacing my phone. I spend an awful lot of time at computers, and computers do a lot of the same thing the phones do, just without the apps, that's the difference. So, really, I don't think my life's going to change a huge amount. It's just going to be the distraction tool will change, will be the biggest difference. And there will be some other bits that will be fiddly, but we'll get to that when we get there. My theory is that gaming is better for the soul than the apps. And I think I believe that. And I think I will notice the difference during this week. And I think it's going to feel good. And I'm excited about that. And I'm excited to share it with you all. So join me on the journey. Minerva, please stop nuzzling all the Game Boy games. I need those. Die meiste von aller Zeit ist man nie 24 Stunden erreichbar. Das ist was komplett Neues.
Ja, und das ist für mich jetzt zum Beispiel zu wissen, dass du nicht erreichbar bist, ist ein bisschen ein Problem.
Warum ist das immer?
Ja, manchmal einfach so, zu fragen, wie es dir geht oder was du machst. Oder manchmal auch, wenn ein Problem gibt.
Ich komme spät abends vorbei und sage dir, wie es geht.
Okay.
Wie es mir geht.
Das ist eine gute Idee.
Es ist einfach so, dass es schwerer jetzt zu leben ist ohne ein Handy. Right?
Das kann man sich gar nicht mehr vorstellen. Undenkbar.
Oh, hello there. It's so dumb.
It's so dumb.
So we're at the spa playing some Game Boy. So far, like, having a Game Boy instead of a phone has been basically no different because I don't normally take my phone into the spa anyway, so this was so far completely pointless. Bubble Bobble on Game Boy, would not recommend. Screen's a little bit too tight, and the way Bubble Bobble works, you sort of fall down from the bottom and then you come back down out the top, and then you can't see what's underneath you like you can on the arcade version, so you just die by mistake all the time. Got Wave Race on now. Wave Race is good. Had a go at Yoshi while we were waiting at the restaurant as well. Surprisingly good, actually.
I think you've said as much as you want to say. I think you should say, hey, how about we go in the nice hot water again?
How about we record just a little bit of B-roll of me playing Wave Race and then go into the nice hot water again?
Fine. Yeah, so natural. Wow. Just a guy, totally lost in his Game Boy game at the spa.
Oh, look at that. That was a tight race. Wish you could have seen it. So yeah, that was really nice. On the way out, Claudia asked me what time the train goes, and I thought, I don't know. I don't have any way of checking, but I'd looked at it earlier, obviously, as you do. You know, you check the train times before you go to a place. And then on your way out of the place, you check the train times again, don't you? It just makes me wonder, like, how many little things we just forget because we know we have the infinite portal in our pockets to all information. So we don't have to remember anything anymore. Also, I'd really quite like to know how my YouTube stats are doing, but never mind. I'm too relaxed to shoot a vlog, really, but... Alright, come on. I just turn the camera on, she just rocks up. Yeah. Yep. First thoughts travelling with the Game Boy. The screen is not ideal. Playing it outside at the spa by the pool in the sun was really nice. You've got the sunlight directly on the screen, you can see what you're doing. It was nice and bright when I was at the train station as well. But oh man, that bit in Link's Awakening in the first dungeon where you have to attack the guys with the changing card suits. Yeah, you know the bit. There's no way of seeing what the suits are. You just gotta like hit them when they're all basically the same colour or shade of grey and just hope for the best. But yeah, that was on the train where obviously the lighting is a lot more variable than when you're out in the sun. So if you do this for yourself, you know, do pick a Game Boy with a screen that's easier to see, or just one of the many like emulation handhelds you've got. Yeah, otherwise I'm enjoying it. The only other thing I'm finding disappointing so far been impossible to actually leave my phone at home. Like I actually have to have it with me because my train ticket's on it. Gym subscriptions. I could just leave it. I really could just leave it, but I can't because of those things. I need those things, right? Like I'm not gonna spend a vast amount of money on train tickets to actually leave my phone at home for this thing. I'm going to bring my phone with me with the train subscription on it and just not use it for anything else. Surely you can set screen time for apps, can't you? Can I put it in Do Not Disturb and just disable everything? No, set screen time of 0 for every app on there apart from the train tickets. Maybe. As long as it's there in my bag, whatever restrictions I put on it, I can take off it. Anyway, that's an update from today. It's been good.
Morning, it's day 2. Could have overslept. My alarm didn't go off. Turns out the Game Boy doesn't have an alarm, but Minerva alarm never fails. I'm feeling pretty good. I think last night was the first night in 20 years I went to sleep without watching something. It's funny the things you find out that you thought you needed that you don't really need.
Right, I'm in my garage ready to cycle to work. Normally, I like to listen to stuff while I cycle. Normally it's podcasts, but for some reason no one's ever made a podcast app of the original Game Boy, so we're not going to have that option today. Music's fine too. So this is an album of music produced by a musician in Hamburg called Remute. He makes cartridge-based music. This is called Living Electronics, I think. So I'm gonna give that a try on the cycle to work. Other bit of tech I can talk about while I'm here. You'll see I've got headphones in. Obviously these Bluetooth headphones. This doesn't have Bluetooth. This does. So I can just pop that in there.
How has it got voice samples in this thing? That's so crazy. Really impressive stuff. Limitations breed creativity, man. Good work with you. Well done. I actually got to work and quick record before I go in. The album was really good. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't long enough to do the whole 25-minute commute, which is a shame. But if Remute tells me that that's because of storage space on a Game Boy cartridge, I will absolutely believe him. And in fact, at the end, there comes up a QR code for bonus tracks, which is great, but not very useful if you're listening to it on a Game Boy. So, you know, useless to me. I can't scan a QR code with a Game Boy.
Hey, since I'm the last in the office, I can talk to you a little bit about Game Boy Pac-Man. It's good. It's got two views where you can view it kind of the original pixel size, and it's got a sort of half-size view where you can view it like you can see the whole map on the Game Boy screen, which is actually a really nice way to play Pac-Man portably with the tech that was available at the time. But unfortunately, the tech that was available at the time means that the dots are only 1 pixel big, and they don't contrast very well with the background. They're still light grey, so it's really hard to see. But if you're somewhere with very, very good lighting or a modded Game Boy, then Game Boy Pac-Man's a perfectly fine way to play portable Pac-Man. Didn't get much time to play it today because, you know, work. The only thing I missed today, really, not having my phone, is that I didn't have access to PayPal or my bank. PayPal gives you 4 options to verify your identity to log in, and all 4 of them are the phone. And my bank just gives you a QR code if you try and log in on the website, so that's not great. Today was a good day. Looking forward to what tomorrow brings. Gotta go now. I'm meeting up with a buddy, and if I'm late, I can't tell him about it, so better make sure I'm not late. Ta-ra. I'm learning that there's a lot of things that we just rely on phones for that we used to use our own brains for. Like did you have this? When you learned to drive, did you learn to navigate by road signs?
Well, I had a map.
I think it was like specifically actually practice sessions with my dad where he'd drive us out to the middle of nowhere and say, right, take me home, without using any GPS or anything at all. And it was important to him that I had that skill. As soon as I started driving myself, completely lost it.
I mean, I drove to places where I've never been before, and all I had to navigate was a map from the area.
Yeah.
And I had to remember the street names on the way and how many to go, and then left and then right, and you know, if I couldn't remember, I had to stop and check again.
But you wouldn't do it today, right?
No.
Are we as millennials being overly judgmental when we talk about Gen Z and their AI friends?
I think we are just born early enough to be able to see at the 2 outcomes and then decide. Navigation is the best example. I mean, I realized that I sometimes just follow Google whatever. But I also tend to think, no, Google must be wrong, and I just follow the signs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't think younger people do that anymore. They just assume Google must be right.
Oh, what if that's it? What if we're the last generation that's able to tell the difference? Like, because we lived before smartphones, I guess we're maybe a bit more aware of what we might be losing.
I mean, I took the train when I was a kid, and there was no smartphone, and I had to remember the timetable to make sure that I get back in the evening. It wasn't a problem back then.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it seems to be a problem to remember the last 3 train times.
I wonder if our memories are actively getting worse because of stuff like that, because there's such easy access to information that means we don't actually have to remember anything. Hey chat, when was the last time you actually remembered something? When did you actually last remember a timetable or something like that? Because I don't know. Well, I've made it to what Americans call a hardware store.
I have no idea what British people call it. It's never come up. It's not my life. I remembered what it is I need to buy here. I didn't write it down. I didn't have my phone to look it up. I put it in my brain deliberately and it stayed there. So that's a good feeling. 2 regs and a brush, if you're interested.
Because I thought this screen was like pretty useless, but actually in bed, in the dark, that's really bright.
Maybe you just need to find a dark, quiet corner when you want to play Game Boy.
This is clearly like exactly what this screen was, what this backlight was designed
The
for,
complete
right?
darkness.
Yeah, well, for playing the Game Boy in bed, so that you don't
Yeah.
have to like play with a torch underneath your bed covers or something.
No one does this. You can't even like. You can't
That's what we
hold the
used to
torch.
do.
How do you hold the torch and at the same time play a Game Boy?
Or like one of those big front light things that you used to get.
You all had lava lamps.
Not under the bed, not under the covers. Not snuggling up under the covers next to a lava lamp playing
They did
Game
run
Boy.
quite hot though. Do you remember?
They did run quite hot.
Yeah.
That's why I don't put a lava lamp under your bed sheets, kids.
Working from home today. So, not very interesting to see how that goes with that phone, really. I've got a whole ass computer here. Yay! Bill, don't try and vlog at 5 a.m. Just turned the radio on while I was getting dressed, and the British Prime Minister might resign. It'd be a turn up for the books, wouldn't it? It's funny being sort of more disconnected from the constant rolling news that you get through your phone all the time. Like, I don't have my social media apps, I don't have any news notifications. It's kind of refreshing. Obviously, if the Prime Minister resigns, that's a big deal, but it's not a big deal till it happens. I don't need the discourse, but we've got so used to this 24-hour rolling news cycle where we have to have like constant updates on everything. Like, they were reading on the radio like the names of all the cabinet members who have been going in to speak to him, but they have no idea what about, just that they've been going in to speak to him. I'm like, cool, right, I mean, good to have a hobby, I suppose. Day 4. More working from home today. I had hoped to go into the office, but because of reasons, I have to work from home. It would be more interesting, I think, for a vlog to be out of the house more and sort of going different places and showing around and all that, but no, just in the house again today, I'm afraid. But there will be exciting stuff happening in the house, so not nothing. I have a terrible habit of doing a little bit of second screening whenever I watch TV, and my traditional second screen choice is my phone, and it's either social media or it's Super Metroid and A Link to the Past randomizer. Didn't get to do that yesterday, so while we were watching some TV, I second screened a little bit of Rockman World on the Game Boy. I'm enjoying Rockman World, it's a really good game. It's really hard, and being on the Game Boy screen makes it harder, but I do like it. I think I'm going to do a little bit of research and find out which is the best Rockman World game rather than try and go through them all sequentially. I think that seems to be the play. Recommended if you've got, I mean, I'm saying this so much, to be honest, because if you're using an unmodded Game Boy Light, Rockman World, like all other Game Boy games, it's just pretty tricky to see on this screen, you know? On an unmodded Game Boy Light, or Pocket, or DMG, let's be real, a lot of these games are pretty difficult to play. Actually, look, if you're going to do this, if you want to follow in my footsteps here, you can still literally do replacing your phone with a Game Boy and it be a Game Boy. All you got to do is Game Boy Micro. And you've seen my video about the Game Boy Micro and about how it's the best Game Boy. That's a beautiful, bright, well-lit screen that's easy to read. And it's kind of weird to me now, because the Game Boy Micro has got a reputation of being like really hard to see and really hard to play because of how small it is. But I tell you what, it's easier than every Game Boy that came before it, except maybe the Game Boy Advance SP. Compared to the DMG, the Pocket, the Color, the Light, all of them, it's just so much easier. The Game Boy Micro screen's brighter than the original DS. Yeah, this is why working from home is a challenge sometimes. She's very sweet though. Minerva, stop it. I don't want you typing commands into the mail server. That's not going to go well. It's going to get me in trouble.
For the first guest I have, gamers, someone who is making their So Musty debut. Someone who we bumped into a few months back. And I'm very excited to have him on today, gamers. You might be able to call him the Retro Sofa, but today, gamers, you can call him Bill. Because, gamers, I want you to give your best Musquire welcome to absolute Billima himself, the Retro Sofa. How's it going, brother?
Hello, old man.
Old man, yeah? I'm getting up there, aren't I? I'm getting up there in age, aren't I?
Happy birthday. Yeah, this is weird. Like, somehow, like, I'm 42 and you're like 32-ish, but somehow you're older?
It's
Like,
weird how the internet works, isn't it? It's weird how it works.
Yeah, like, I don't understand how that happened, but somehow that's
Like I said, once you pass like 23, you're all just uncle at that point. Speaking of which, have you been playing anything in particular lately?
I've been repeatedly playing the Super Metroid and A Link to the Past randomizer.
Those are like...
I'm also doing a challenge this week where I haven't got my mobile phone with me. I've been carrying this instead.
Oh, Game Boy Light. Okay.
Yeah. So I've been playing a lot of Game Boy games this week. It's been nice.
It's been a nice change of... So like no phone at all, not even like an old flip phone or anything, just zero phone?
No phone.
Okay. Going back to the gaming roots when we all just used to have a handheld in our pocket, and that's it.
That's it. Some guys rocked up yesterday and started drilling into the side of the house. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? And they're like, didn't you get our message? Like, nope.
What do you mean? What happened there? Oh, because like you didn't have your phone.
Work on the side of the house. Like,
I mean, okay, because you didn't have your phone. Oh, okay, that's funny. That's pretty funny. I might try it.
Didn't get your message on this, no.
No, it doesn't have it, thankfully. I feel like I feel the same way in the sense that I used to have a smartwatch that I just don't wear anymore because I'm just like, I don't want a watch telling me like, yeah, I can't do it anymore. If someone buys me a watch, I want it to be a dumb watch. I don't want any more smart things, man.
I've always been like massive tech guy and always had to have all the latest stuff. But honestly, these days I'm getting so tired of it. Yeah,
there's just a fatigue, isn't it, when it comes to that sort of thing. I think it's one of the things where even in my I think one of my now my musts now when I go to a restaurant, you have to have a physical menu. I went to one where it was a QR code menu, and I'm just like, I'm not doing it anymore. I can't do it anymore. Give me something I can hold. I want the tactile feeling of holding a piece of paper with like the worst font you could imagine, with all the prices laid out. It lay out their prices.
Laminated.
Exactly. Thank you. Laminated as well. That's what I want. That's what I'm all about.
So I've just been on with Sir Steve on his birthday stream, and that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. You can see though, like the difference in like a guy who's been streaming for 10 years versus a guy who's been streaming for like 2 years. You just see who is filling the space and talking while we're playing the games, and it's always Sir Steve. Like, you know, he's a good streamer. Man knows what he's doing. If you don't know his stuff, you should check him out. But most of you came from his audience anyway, so. Hello, and it's cool that I happen to be vlogging this week so I can get a little bit of my reaction of it. But sadly, for the purposes of my video and what I'm doing, I have not played any Game Boy today. Like, stuff went wrong at work and it was all hands to try and like fix a problem, and I just did not get the space to focus on anything else at all. So today and yesterday, not going anywhere and also not playing any Game Boy isn't great for making a vlog about replacing my phone with a Game Boy. Tomorrow I'm also not leaving the house. No, I will. I'll go to a spa again. That's the other thing, right? So I went to a spa, obviously, with, you just saw it, with my mother-in-law, and I'm going to a spa with my friend Holger tomorrow because it's a public holiday and there's not much else that's open on a public holiday, really. That's just a thing you can do. So I'll vlog about going to a spa 2 times in a week. A lot of the stuff I've been talking about this week with people, and what I've been realizing a lot about myself as well, is that we all want tech, we all want convenience, and we all want this magical device that does everything that we want it to do and provides a distraction when we need a distraction, provides information when we need information. But I think we all want it to be on our terms. And with the rise of AI, and with, you know, notifications coming in all the time, social media, all this stuff, it's starting to feel like our phones are taking control of us more than we are of them. Just needing apps to basically survive in the world with banking or transport or whatever else. It's frustrating the way it's kind of gone, and I hope that we find a way to claw it back a little bit, because I really enjoy my phone and I have a good time with it when I am doing the things with it that I want to do, but you resent it when it's there all the time. and messages are coming through, notifications from social media that you don't care about, or you're losing time getting sunk into scrolling, you're losing your time and you're losing your brain power, and you start to resent it. But it's a weird feeling, having grown up with technology being my biggest source of joy for my whole life, to be in this situation age 42 where I'm like, actually, I'm losing something here. If I don't put the technology away for a little bit and try and get back to what's important to me, something's going to be lost. And I'm going to be consumed not by my own thoughts and desires and what matters to me and what's important to me. I'm going to be taken over to some degree by what corporations want me to be looking at. The algorithms, whether it's Google or Meta or TikTok, whatever you use, they're guiding you in directions where the capitalists want you to go. You're not choosing your own path with this stuff anymore. My ideal social media ban would be a ban on algorithms. It would be keep the apps as they are, except you only see a timeline from most recent to oldest of people you follow. Just like Twitter used to be when it started, and that's it. You get that and you get search. I could see maybe for usability you could get something like sort by recent or sort by popular, but it's still only the people you follow. There's no algorithm pushing stuff into your feed that you didn't want. You can go and find it if you want. Your friends can recommend you stuff. The people you follow could share, and you could go down a rabbit hole and find something else that interests you. But the company doesn't push it. You find it, or the people you already are interested in find it for you. That's how it should be. And that would make social media a lot less dangerous. I'd say the same for YouTube as well. YouTube is social media. My YouTube recommendations, if you notice this as well, they've not been great lately. I feel like I'm being pushed in a certain direction that I don't completely want to go. I've watched some more sort of social commentary stuff recently alongside my gaming content, and the social and political stuff is completely where YouTube is pushing me right now. It's giving me so much more, like so many new creators I've never heard of in that space. Whereas in gaming, there's an awful lot of new, I spend more time on gaming content, but I feel like YouTube pushes less of it to me. I don't know. I feel like the algorithms aren't giving us what they want. They're giving us what the corporations want us to want. And that's why I like the simplicity of a Game Boy. Look at the games you've got in your bag, you pull one out, you put it in. If you want recommendations for games, you can find recommendations for games. You don't put a game in your Game Boy and halfway through another game appears saying, hey, did you want to try blah? You know, like, no, I want to play what I want to play. I want to look at what I want to look at. And I want to be in control of my own media consumption. Is that too much to ask? Morning, Minerva. Day 5. The plan for today is spa and then gardening. Second spa in a week. I mean, life could be worse. But sadly, spa and gardening are not good use cases for mobile phones or for Game Boys. Still got it in my pocket though. You like Zelda, don't you? No? Not much Game Boy wise to talk about today. Went to the spa again and spent a lot of time in saunas and got incredibly relaxed, and then came home and did some gardening and got incredibly tired, and just haven't really done much of anything after that. We're both too tired to cook, so we've ordered Thai food, and I'm going to go and take my Game Boy in a bit and pick up the Thai food. My go-to has been mostly Link's Awakening, and the only reason for that is because anytime you want to stop playing, you walk into a door, you press start, select B and A, and it saves. That makes it a lot more flexible than most Game Boy games to like just play for a few minutes while you're waiting for something and then switch off. I think most of the time that I spend scrolling is like a few minutes at a time. There's not a sustained period of going, you know? Link's Awakening is the game to go for that, I think. In general, the thing that's bugging me the most, I think, is just not having access to any of my banking. I've got no idea how much money I've got. So, hoping that at the end of the week I won't be destitute. But, you know, I've played some more Game Boy.
I don't know, man. Sometimes being a content creator is about normal stuff, and sometimes it's about carrying your Thai food home while playing Game Boy and carrying a massive selfie stick.
Morning, gamers. It's day 6. It's kind of weird just raw dogging sleep after so long. Like, how often are you alone with your thoughts? Because for me, it's been a long time. Even now, late into the week, the desire, I guess, to put something on to fall asleep to watch a video or something is high. But I'm sleeping fine. I don't need it. I thought I needed it. I don't need it. I just really want it. Or I'm addicted to it. But I don't need it. Going into the office today, I bought a second copy of Tetris, and I'm bringing a second Game Boy. Hopefully, if there's nothing too heavy going on, I might get some time to play a little bit of Tetris with my colleagues.
Day 6 and the battery's finally died. How often do you charge your smartphone? Score 1 for the Game Boy, I think.
So today I went to the office and I did some work, and then I spent a bit of time in the afternoon just going around the office with the Game Boy camera and Game Boy printer and just taking selfies with people and just print them out. It's a nice little way of spreading joy around the office on a Friday afternoon. I don't know what it is, but people really love getting like some little black and white printouts of their pictures. There's nice little trinkets that you can give people. You know, I guess it's really nice in an increasingly digital world when someone gives you like a physical thing. And the fact it came out of hardware from 1995 that's older than some of the people I was taking photos of makes it a little bit extra special, I guess. So that was really cool. And I got in a couple of games of Tetris with some colleagues as well, and yeah, I had a good time. But yeah, especially the reaction to the Game Boy camera and the Game Boy printer was particularly sweet, I think. I just printed out a picture of Minerva and just gave it to my boss, and he immediately put it in his wallet, right? Because it was just like a special like little thing, you know. And then we had a bit of a scramble when we had to take Minerva to the vet. Don't know what's up yet. We're still hoping she's gonna be okay. Obviously, there's further tests to be done. It was a bit of a scramble to sort it out because we don't drive, and the appointment was pretty short notice. But we were able to find someone, and I was able to coordinate meeting with Claudia and Minerva and taking them to the vet without a smartphone. This was frustrating, I think, for the other people involved, for Claudia especially, not being able to just directly contact me, but we figured it out, we did it, and although I think me not having a smartphone added a little to the stress, it did work out. We did get to the vet. This is what I was kind of talking about in the video at the start of the week. What if an emergency happens, and how will that go? And we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Well, an emergency kind of happened, a short notice vet appointment, and we handled it. It worked in part because other people had smartphones, but I think even if they didn't, I think my work phone still worked. If other people didn't have smartphones, I mean, there would be phone boxes, but it's kind of an issue. If you want to live the phone-free life, there aren't really payphones anymore. If you're out and about and you need to contact someone, you're just kind of stuck, which is unfortunate, because I am railing against a world, a society, where we are forced to carry something with us. Most of us, I think, would still choose to, were it still completely optional, and I think that's fine. I think carrying anything with you should be a choice. Whether you want to have ID with you all the time, whether you want to have cash with you all the time, whether you want to have your phone with you all the time, all of these things should be choices that you make, not choices that are made for you. But I'm not sure the phone's an option anymore. I think it's something you need. It's still been nearly a week since I've checked my bank account. No idea what's going on with that. Still had to take my phone with me to get on trains. I did have to ask other people to send messages around and coordinate things to arrange getting Minerva to the vet. You know, we got through it, and you know, I'm glad we did it. And I didn't think an emergency would be a big problem. I was never really more than half an hour away from home, so getting home and grabbing the phone was always an option, and I was always contactable at work. The only time I wasn't in contact was when I was out and about. So it worked, but it was a little bit more of a strain on other people than it would have been if I just had the phone. So it's a little bit of a selfish thing to not carry a phone with you as well. But come on, like, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Society tells you you need to carry this thing. The people around you expect you to carry this thing. We're so used to being contactable 24/7 that it's hard to go back from that now. And I don't know what the answer is, unless everyone does it, unless we all collectively decide we're not going to carry phones and we're going to be okay with other people not carrying phones. And if there's an emergency, we'll deal with it the way we always have before phones, but no, it's not really an option anymore. I think we're going to be looking for workarounds. I think that the sort of the semi-smartphone, the sort of the phone with the e-ink screen, the phone on which you can run your banking app and your ticketing app and a messaging app and all of that stuff. You know, there exist these little phones that are good for that kind of thing, but they're not good for games and they're not good for scrolling and they're not good for videos and stuff like that. So you're not going to get tempted into using social media and stuff on them. I'm interested in that kind of product as we get towards the end of this experiment. It sounds like something I would be curious to try, but it's not more than that. It's something I'd be curious to try, and I'd be giving up quite a lot to try it. But specifically, these things are pricey. You know, the deliberately limited tech is more expensive than just the normal tech that everyone's using. You're paying more to do less with your new device, and that's a hard sell. But I kind of think they might be onto something, because that solves all of the problems I'm having with being contactable and access to certain types of data, etc. But still kind of frees me from the obligation to scroll and from the myriad social media notifications I get that I don't care about, but I just never get around to turning off. You know, and ultimately being able to be fully present in the moment, not being distracted by messages or anything, but still contactable should it be necessary. And I mean, the other thing, I'm using my brain more. I'm remembering things. I'm contemplating, you know. How long has it been since you've contemplated? Maybe you mull over something that happened in the day that was important to you and you'll remember it more because you thought about it more. Or maybe you think about something that's coming up the next day and you plan ahead a little bit, and then your day is a little better because you took a little bit more time to approach it thoughtfully, you know? I don't know. It's such a short experiment and it's not good data. Your mileage may vary, but anecdotally, I think I've been pretty sharp this week. Did the Sir Musty stream and I wasn't able to fully keep up with his energy because the man can talk, but I think I was engaging and entertaining in a live setting, which is kind of new and quite difficult for me. I think at work, I've come up with solutions to problems quicker than I often do. I'm well rested. You know, I haven't been looking at my phone at night, so I've just been lying down, thinking about stuff and falling asleep. I started university in 2002. And because I'm neurodivergent and not very good at education, I didn't finish it until 2010. When I started university, there was no such thing as a smartphone. When I finished university, everyone had them. The first iPhone came out in 2007. I can remember during that decade, and even within the first half of my university career, I always had a mobile phone. That was a given. Had that from the start. So I was always contactable. I made a point of being the most contactable. I had a computer next to my bed that I used to read my emails and read IRC when I first woke up. Before I even got out of bed, I was rolling over and looking at a screen before anyone else was. I remember I had media saved on my computer, like just TV shows and stuff, and I had a very long S-video cable going from my graphics card to an old CRT TV opposite my bed. I was watching videos on the computer at night to fall asleep, and I was checking the then equivalent of social media the moment I got up, before the iPhone was invented. I had the first internet phone, WAP, which meant wireless access protocol before it meant anything else. I had the first one, the Nokia 7110, I think. I even remember in school, even before university, even in like the year 2000, being on a bus and using a Scion Series 5 and infrared connection to my phone, using dial-up and getting on the internet with it. And that was the first time I used mobile internet. There wasn't one. And even before smartphones came out, I had dumb phones with browsers. I had Nokia Symbian phones. They had web browsers on them. They had IRC clients. They had email clients, Basically, I've been really ahead of the curve on this stuff for my whole life. And the rest of the world has caught up with me. I don't want it. I don't want it to be mandatory. I was doing mobile internet in the 2000s because it interested me. I remember Placebo played the Reading and Leeds festivals somewhere in the mid-2000s, and I remember getting my phone out during the show, getting onto IRC, and we used to have a thing then. You used to put like "is listening to," We used to share what music we were listening to while we were chatting, and I put "is listening to Placebo, Special K, brackets, live." That got into the IRC quotes file. That was just that line on its own, right? Just the fact that I was listening to live music at a festival and sharing that I was doing it with my social group over the internet was so weird and so special and so different at that time that it was recorded for posterity that it happened. And not by my choice, just by people who saw it. And it's a few years later, like everyone's doing it, and fine, cool. And I like that. I like the fun stuff. I like the sharing with people, I just don't like the necessity, both in terms of practicalities for living your life and the addiction. I don't want those, and I didn't realize how strong those things are until I tried, for the first time since the early 2000s, to not have a mobile phone all the time. Heck, for the first time this millennium. This is the first time since 2000 that I've not had internet access in my pocket. Anyway, then I went shopping and it was fine. I had my shopping list on my Gameboy. I followed it, read off a list, walking around the supermarket. Wasn't a problem. Paid for my stuff and left. But coming out of that shop was when I looked for a payphone, because I wanted to know if we'd heard back from the vet about Minerva's blood tests. But I just had to wait till I got home. We hadn't. The call hadn't come through yet, I didn't think it would. I don't think I'd have gone shopping if I thought it would. I don't think it's realistic, for the reasons I've said, to be walking around in 2026 without a mobile phone. But what we can do is be a lot more thoughtful and deliberate about our use of technology and ask the question, is it serving me or am I serving it? That's why I love a Gameboy. That's why I love a Gameboy. The answer's obvious. So, day 7, last day. There's not really an awful lot to add from today that I didn't really talk about yesterday. Yesterday was quite a long update. Pretty much my conclusions about the whole thing. To sum it up, I mean, can you live carrying around a Game Boy instead of a smartphone? No, not really. Should you try? No. Wouldn't recommend it, really, except I did learn a lot by using the phone less. So I guess what I'm saying is that after this experiment, I'm an advocate for carrying both Game Boy and a smartphone, because actually just grabbing a Game Boy, picking up and playing it for a few minutes is perfectly doable. You know, it's not got as much friction as I thought it would, even though it's a Game Boy, even though it's the original, like, well, I mean, this isn't the original, you know, 1989 Game Boy, but it could be. You know, it's the software's the same, the way it works is the same. You just put it out and you play it, and it depends on what's on the cartridge for sort of, you know, how well it works for like short bursts. You know, it depends on the game, depends on the saving. Meow. Hello. Meow. Come on. And, you know, it's still fine. And there are obviously lots of better alternatives that you could use that actually work even better in that kind of scenario. You could take a DS, you could take a 3DS if you like original hardware, you could take any emulator device that supports like some kind of suspense, you know, and that will work a lot better. And really, I'd encourage you to give it a shot. So that's the end of the experiment. And I'd like to say a big thank you to Liam, Nathan, Sir Musty, Soul in Sadness, Thankmar, Ultra Muffin, and Visual Novel Archive, and anyone else I've missed, because I rattled that off from memory, which I think is getting a little bit better since not carrying the phone. That is the end of my week with a Game Boy instead of a mobile phone. Thank you for joining me on the Retro Sofa, and just generally for my life this week. Those of you who are still here, you are fans of the channel, because I know after I do the thank you, like, most people have disappeared, and that's fine. I'm not got an issue with that. I owe you personally an update about this channel going forwards. This is Minerva. You know her well. She's been with this channel since the first frame. She's been here as long as I have. She's taken part in most videos of her own volition. She came in while I was talking just now, and I didn't plan for that. She just wants to be here. But she's not going to be anymore. That vet emergency I talked about yesterday. Minerva has advanced lung cancer. By the time this video goes out, she won't be around. I know you care about her as well. You won't miss her as much as Cloudy and I will, but you will. She's 11 years old. She is the weirdest, dumbest, most beautiful cat I've ever known. The most loyal. And the neediest little baby. She's a needy little baby. Isn't she a needy little baby? Thank you for watching, for your support, for your love and for your friendship. And a very special thank you to Minerva. We'll never forget her. We'll love her forever. And we'll take joy in her forever. And there'll never be another like her. This is a weird way to end my video on a retro games channel, but she's been part of it, and you deserve to know what's been going on. I'm just going to keep doing this for a little while.